Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vynora Effect, all things health and wellness. Today, I'm sitting here with this wonderful guest. She is a professional in feminine rhythm, hormonal intelligence, and reconnecting to our natural cells in our body. Name?
Joma.
Isra Jomo, welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining me today. So, yes, give me a little bit of an intro about yourself, what you're currently doing right now with your business, and also with your feminine self as well.
Yeah, so currently I'm a meditation teacher
Mhm.
as well as a nutritionist. I've been a meditation teacher for about 8 years now, and I'm very passionate about reminding people of their power through meditation, through ceremonial grade cacao, which is a plant medicine meant to remind you of your intuition, reconnect you back deeply to your heart, to your inner child, as well as your inner joy. So that is mostly of what I do. And I studied anthropology and psychology, and I incorporate that as well into my work.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I also wanted to add, I love to do this for my podcast of how we met and we connected as well. So when I first met Isra, we met at Nate's, right? Or at Nate's house.
Yeah.
But when I first met her, I just thought she was just such an amazing, beautiful woman that I just connected energies with her. And she's very soft when I first met her. And every time I meet women, just in general, I'm just like, oh, like it was a really inspiring and interpersonal connection. And I was like, oh, she's just so you just had a lot going for yourself internally, and you know who you are. You show up authentically as yourself, and you've done the work for yourself and the practice, and that's what really just kind of geared me towards your energy. And I was like, oh, like you just seem super sweet and like super authentic. And I'm like, I really wanted to get to know you as a friend and a woman. And I feel like the more that we figure out ourselves as women, the more that we're able to make those connections when it comes to community. When I first moved here to Canada, I was just very alone. I mostly hang out with my parents or my sister. And then now that we're out and connecting and, getting to know each other and developing community, I'm just really grateful that I've met Isra. So I just wanted to give a little intro about that.
Yeah. I'm
you
so
know?
I'm also really grateful for
Yeah.
having met you,
Mhm.
because it's like when two people are meant to meet each other, it's
Mhm.
like you feel some sort of like internal nudge or like
Yeah.
expansive feeling.
Yeah.
And I felt that when I met you. I was like, wow, I feel like her heart is so open, and
Yes.
like you could feel when a person is genuine,
Mhm.
or you could feel when someone's like a bit off,
Exactly.
where you're like, I don't feel like I can actually vibe with them or connect with them.
Mhm.
And sometimes people are like, no, they start doubting themselves. They start saying, maybe I'm just making that up.
Mhm.
And they brush that aside. And then in the future, something does happen and they're like, oh, I should have not
Right.
doubted myself. And so
Yes.
that's what actually happens nowadays. People doubt their inner voice.
Right.
And this is something, trial and error in the past, I would be like, no, I should listen. Even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. It's like, why are you judging her? People tell me like, why are you judging that person? I'm like, I'm not judging. I am listening to my internal nudge. And so
Exactly.
through my own practice, I help people in really getting confidence and understanding of what this internal nudge is, the intuition, the sixth sense. A lot of people don't even have this connection with it. They feel so disconnected from themselves. And so that's what my work is. It's about reconnecting back to themselves, to their intuition, so they can have a clear internal compass. So
Yes.
yeah.
Women supporting women. And also back to Isra, following your woman intuition is definitely key. When we are connecting or looking for that woman type of friendship or feminine energy, it's a natural thing that occurs. That urge and not and obeying that urge where it's like, let me go for it. Let me see what this is reading. And I feel like you and I connected on the same level,
Yeah.
especially being very intuitive and looking at different perceptions from different points of view. Hence, like, right before we started the podcast, guys, we're just setting up the camera and a black cat literally just walked behind us, and Isra was the first one to notice it. So I have to say her intuition is very strong, and that was definitely a sign. Very black cat energy vibes.
Yes. I actually, one of my spirit animals is a black cat.
There you go.
So it's
Right.
beautiful, and it's
Yes.
around also, the energy of the witch, which is really misunderstood, because it's actually the our connection to the earth, and that was demonized And that was demonized in order to disconnect us from ourselves,
Yeah.
from our power. And so now we're rewriting things and we're taking our power back from the patriarchy and saying, no, this is
Yes.
not bad. This is
Mhm.
actually our power, and we're coming back into that. And interestingly, when
Mhm.
we come back into our power, then we awaken men
Yes.
into their true masculine
Mhm.
energy. So it's actually for the benefit of all of us.
Yes, exactly, guys. Like we are, as women, we are the blueprint to all of this. And I
Mhm.
completely agree with you on that concept. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with like energy work and how you
Mhm.
got started with just connecting with the divine feminine and just how did you get started with your whole type of, I would say, career and following your intuition to follow that path?
Yeah. So actually, from a very young age, I was aware of energy. I was aware that the universe communicates to us through numbers, through animals. And I was aware of all of this. But then I realized I'm so strange. I'm so weird.
You're not strange, girl. We're all just trying to figure it out together.
But growing up, like imagine like a 6 or 7 year old, like I was aware as soon as I was aware of myself.
Yes.
And so I did not find someone who was similar to me. And, growing up, you want to find a sense of belonging.
Right.
And growing up in a very religious background, I let those beliefs go. I suppressed them. I pushed them away. I put them in a box and like locked it away. So I followed a religion. I wore the hijab for 14 years. And then when I went to Japan, I was always, there's one thing that people need to know. When you feel called to go to a certain country, when your soul is nudging you to go to a certain country, it is because that is where your soul is going to be expanding.
Mhm.
When you follow the call to go to that country, you will see how you will change.
Right.
You will gain wisdom and knowledge that there's no way you would have gained it if you were to stay in the same country that you were born in. So I felt called to go to Japan. That was the country that I felt deeply, deeply attracted to. 2 years in, it was honestly a spiritual pilgrimage. The first month I was in Japan, I took off the hijab and I started to unlearn what I was taught about what feminine energy is. And so that's when I started to wake up again. So I was awake, but I reawakened back to this idea. But along the way, when you let go of so many aspects of yourself along the way in order to belong somewhere or to do like, a lot of us do this people pleasing thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In
Because
order
we want to feel included. Yeah.
Exactly. We want to feel loved. We want to feel that it's instinctual where we want to be part of a group, a community. We don't want to be shunned because to be shunned means to not be able to survive,
Right.
So going to Japan, I didn't know anyone.
Right.
So I was like pressing the reset button.
Yes.
And
Like,
then,
let me go figure this out and see what's out there. And
yeah.
your soul called you there. And look at you now.
But there's a really, really big part of this puzzle, and that's mental health. I started to go through severe, severe depression even before going to
Mhm.
Japan. And that was the thing where I started questioning. I'm like, why am I so unhappy?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like I don't feel? I was numb. And so, what led me to my work right now is multiple things. And that is one of them, it was depression and different types of anxiety because I realized I'm like, why am I so numb? Why can't I feel pleasure? Why is pleasure bad?
Mhm.
Why is it so taboo? And
Right.
growing up, it's like, be a good girl
In your culture, right.
in my
It was
culture.
shunned. Yeah.
So that's what led me to my
Mhm.
work because I'm like, I saw where I was and I cultivated that medicine of coming back into feeling again, coming back into deeper sense of pleasure. I also wanted to be like, I want to feel more sovereign. And
Mhm.
to be sovereign means to be connected to yourself, to your feelings, to your intuition.
Yes, girl. I love that. What are you just like for not for the podcast?
Mhm.
What are you studying now in school?
So right now I am mostly not studying. I'm doing my own work.
Okay.
And the work that I'm doing is around tantra. And
Okay.
tantra can be misunderstood as being only about the sexual things.
Mhm.
It's actually balancing your internal feminine and masculine energy. And that's a journey. That's a
Mhm.
lifelong journey.
Yes, I'm going through that journey right now and I'm driving myself crazy. So I would love, in the future, I would love to sit down with you and learn how to balance out the feminine and masculine side, because what you're saying to me right now is such like a, how do you say, it's such like a mindset thing for me, because it's like, as women today, we have the power to create anything or do anything. We are the creators of whatever we want to in our careers or life, right? Currently at the moment, me trying to be a CEO or a COO or influencer or do any business, it's driving me nuts because I want to be in the soft power and just come up naturally. At the same time, when it comes to business in general, most of the time it's a male dominated industry. And I'm working in healthcare, health and wellness, clean energy, tech solutions, etc. And I find myself trying to balance on the scale where it's like, should I do this or should I wear this hat? Or should I wear this hat to be successful? It's driving me insane. So I eventually will post another episode where Isra and I will sit down 2 to 3 months from now and you'll see a completely different person. But for right now, where I'm just trying to figure it out. To be honest with you, because there's women, there's women so scared. That was a confirmation. The angels are watching us, guys. I swear. They're supporting this conversation because what? That was so crazy. A loud noise just like, erupted. And every time like this stuff happens, I always say it's a sign from the universe or the angels and a confirmation of everything I'm saying, everything that you're portraying out there, everything we're portraying on this podcast is going to come true, of course, in the future. Back to what I was saying, a lot of women like myself are experiencing the same thing, especially in this male dominant industry when it comes to business as a whole. But Isra here, she has kind of just figured out her own type of like journey and her career, and it's up to myself to be open to these practices so I can heal that trauma that I've been carrying when it comes to being this entrepreneur that I'm meant to be, that God has put me on. But it's like where there's not really I would say a legit blueprint to follow of how to get there in a peaceful way. So I'm really looking forward to learning from you and learning your practices. So that brings me to my next question, that the cacao ceremonies. I would love to hear more and learn more about that on top of the you said it's what did you say before? It was
The heart opening or
yeah, exactly. So yeah, talk to me more about the tantra meditation. I'm a big meditator as well. I like to sit down, put on my ear pods, and just set the scene and visualize my life for the future. But I would love to learn more about that practice.
yeah, so tantra and meditation, well, meditation can be part of tantra, but meditation for me has been a way to become aware of my thoughts, become aware of myself. It's as simple. A lot of people come to me and tell me I can't meditate, and I tell them that's such a misconception. We can all meditate. If you can breathe, you can meditate.
Yes.
But they say they can't meditate is because they have too many thoughts coming into their mind. But I'm like, that's very normal. Nowadays, if you have a lot of stress, you're absolutely going to have many thoughts coming through. And so, can you witness them? And so that's why guided meditations are so important, because you need to be guided before you're able to do it on your own. I still do guided meditations because you want to be in that sort of receiving mode, and the receiving is the feminine.
Yes.
So to be guided through the meditations, I have a couple of meditations, about 28 meditations on Insight Timer. It's an app, and there I have meditations specifically around the chakras, and Tantra is also connected to the chakra system, which is the energies, the different energies in the body. Now, most people talk about the main seven chakras,
Right.
but to do with meditation, I would say start with 2 or 3 minutes. You don't have to do so much. And if you have racing thoughts, okay, don't judge that
Yes.
and just keep on going, doing the practice. And you will see how this practice will not only make you aware of yourself, but it will allow for any stress to be removed or for you to release the stress. When we have this low level stress in the background, it impacts our physical, emotional, and energetic body. And later we will talk about the hormones and
Oh,
cycle,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
So
exactly. Yeah.
this is all connected. But tantra, I think that's a whole other ballgame. Maybe
Yes. No, yes. So there's going to be more episodes coming soon. And this is the reason why I do what I do and what I'm called to do is that as a woman and as we're aging as women, we need to educate the masses on people's different experience and people's different knowledge about these types of meditations and
Yeah.
practices. Of course, you can find, all this on the internet, but I feel like it's so important to educate the audience on
Mhm.
who's out there, who's done the practices, what other practices are out there, and what other solutions can we start putting into our bodies, into our practices, that if we're meditating or doing yoga or what have
Mhm.
you, right?
But
Yeah, yeah, for
mhm.
sure, for sure. So the first time I heard cacao, I'm a big chocolate lover. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just gonna drink hot chocolate and hang out with my girlfriends. Great. But learning from Isra, there's so much more to it and so
Mhm.
much that we can gain from the cacao ceremony.
Yeah, so starting off, I'll tell you how the cacao is different. This is not your regular cacao powder. This is cacao that has cacao butter. Usually, the cacao bean, that you remove the cacao butter to make cacao powder,
Mhm.
but this stays. And it is minimally processed, meaning it's not exposed to high heat. And because it's not exposed to high heat, the many nutrients like magnesium, iron, zinc, B vitamins, it has more antioxidants, 40 times more antioxidants than blueberries. It
Mm.
also has stem cells, meaning it helps to regenerate the cells of the body.
That's beautiful. Did not know that. Noted.
So it's very nourishing. It's a nutrient dense drink to have first thing in the morning. Now, before cacao, I would recommend having lemon water because cacao is detoxifying for the body.
Would you say warm lemon water?
Yes, absolutely. Because cold, it's not good for like the internal fire of the stomach. So it's better to have warm water, maybe a bit of sea salt, because it gives energy to the body, hydration in some ways. People think the opposite. They think salt dehydrates, but true sea salt,
Mhm.
high quality salt, is what our body needs. So this is one thing about two things about cacao. Another thing, it's organically grown. It is a native strain, meaning it is from the original country. So the Peruvian cacao, it's going to be a certain strain, not mixed with other strains of cacao. It is pure strain that matter. And it's grown on a small scale, family farms with respect to the land. So the energetics around how the cacao is grown is very important and how it is harvested. Every step is important because if you're going to interact with cacao on the level of energy, on the level of it being plant medicine,
Mhm.
every step matters. So the benefits not only on the physical level but also on the emotional level. There are plant compounds called, one of them is anandamide, which is a bliss molecule. So we're talking science here. There's
Yeah.
nothing where it's energy yet.
Mhm.
It's on the actual plant compound of it. It helps to uplift your mood. There's PEA, phenylethylamine, which is a love molecule. It opens your heart.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. And it's great for networking events, community gatherings, ecstatic dances, which is a place where you can just dance and move your body in the way that feels good to the music.
Right.
And it's great for partner work as well. If you have a partner, it's great for if you have a difficult conversation to
Mhm.
have, you can use cacao. Actually, during the Mayan times, they used cacao. They would drink it if there was a conflict between tribes
Wow.
in order
Okay,
to,
so we're learning about history. I did
yeah,
not know this. This is amazing. Keep going.
yeah. So the Mayans used it in various parts of their life. It was a revered medicine. Theobromine, which is the gently energizing aspect compound of cacao, the Latin name Theobroma means the food of the gods. And it was revered so much. It was used as currency during the Mayan times. It was used as a part of baptism as well,
Wow.
baptizing.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was used just as I mentioned in resolving conflicts. So it's, and we're still learning about cacao. There's
Right.
a lot of that history is
Mhm.
still coming up. And I learned anthropology because I knew the Aboriginal people have valuable knowledge that we need now in order to come back into our connection to Mother Earth.
We need it more than ever.
So it's very important. So
Mhm.
cacao, you could drink it in a ceremonial context. I would highly recommend having it in a ceremony first so you can be guided into it and to really understand how to be guided into that and how this ceremony looks like. It's pretty much, you don't right away drink the cacao. You intentionally drink it. So you're guided into a meditation to connect to your body. You're guided then into connecting to gratitude and then to your senses. You smell the cacao, you look at it, you appreciate it, and you just take a moment to be present in your body. When we eat nowadays, when we drink, when we're looking at our phone, when we're watching something, we're not connected to our body.
We're not present. We're rushing, looking at our phones, we're like always busy, our mind's busy. And doing the cacao is a moment to be present.
To be present, to feel into your body. And when you feel into your body, you're feeling into your emotions. And feeling into one's emotions can be very uncomfortable.
Yes,
So,
that's very true. But as women, hey, I mean, we are emotional beings.
yeah.
That's amazing. I really like how you broke down the historical facts, but also how we need to start bringing these, I would say, ancient practices back into the modern day life of a woman because we are Mother Earth, we are Mother Nature, and we connect with like the planet, right? The chakras and things like that. And I feel like it is so key to like there's a lot of new things, new technology, supplements, everything, but it's so key to go the natural route. I feel like
Yes.
you can never really go wrong going the natural route when it comes to
Mhm.
tea, cacao ceremonies, and like cutting out coffee and like coffee raises your blood levels, and I feel like trying to supplement something more natural into your body is definitely going to benefit you as a woman and probably benefit throughout your day so you're not super stressed.
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah, giving
Yeah.
your body what it needs. And
Right.
you know, how I started with cacao was back in 2020. There was a lady who was doing an online cacao ceremony, and I used regular cacao powder for this. But the practice of just being present with my body and slowing down, and her guiding me through my senses and presence with the energy of gratitude, I actually, when I drank the cacao, I started to cry.
Aw.
I realized
That's
how
gonna be me.
I realized how I don't have a practice to nourish myself. I don't have a practice of slowing down. And you were mentioning about how to find that balance and being in your masculine and being in like that leading role. Having a practice will help you. I need to do this every day, especially when you're a highly sensitive person, when you feel so deeply, and that's a superpower. People think that if you feel deeply, it's a weakness.
Mhm.
Oh, that's what our world needs in order for us to be more in our heart energy, in order for us to help each other awaken to deeper compassion to
Mhm.
ourselves and to others.
So thank you for explaining the cacao ceremony. I'm really looking forward to, diving into that with you. And like I would love to record a session as well. And also what's the name of the product of the cacao, the actual powder
So it's
or the
not
brand?
the brand would be
Mhm.
Fly Cacao,
Okay.
ceremonial grade cacao. So
You
that's
heard it
how
here
you know.
first. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's how you know it's high quality,
Mhm.
but not all ceremonial grade cacao is made equally. And this is one of the highest grade of cacao that I have tried.
Mhm.
I've tried like 5 or 6 different types, but this one is called Fly Cacao. It has like a white dragon on the front.
Nice. Oh,
So
that's so cool.
yeah.
That's how you know it's the real stuff,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But yes, moving on from the cacao ceremony, really looking forward to that. I would love to touch on the reoccurring patterns that you notice in women when it comes to emotional stability, emotional intelligence, balancing the feminine and masculine side, balancing that scale. So, for example, I notice reoccurring pattern myself of trying to balance the business side of my brain and the creative side of my brain, but also leading into a feminine side when it comes to business, right? There's a lot of women owned businesses that support women. But for myself with Nora and discovering my brand and my business, I've been driving myself crazy trying to figure out how to balance it all. And I've noticed this pattern, I recognize it, and I'm excited to work with Isra on how to balance out this pattern. So, yes, Isra, as far as just for my example, what is another like reoccurring pattern that you've noticed in women from any age group?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, it just hyper independence, wanting to do everything on their own. And that's also not all the time indicative of their relationship with their father and how they felt like, or growing up, they felt like they had to grow up faster in order to adapt to certain situations, circumstances. And that then came through or it spilled over into their adult life where they're like, I can do this on my own. I don't need a man. But then another group is, yes, I do need a man, but I don't know how to be in my feminine. It's like, and then taking the lead and almost competing with men, that also then pushes men away.
Right.
And we don't know how to be in that softness. And we don't have maybe an example of that. So
Right.
that's one example.
Yes, I feel like that is a really perfect example to share because as women, we have our own careers, our own jobs, our own paths in life. But it's so important to find a woman community or some type of community or friendship to help support and guide you. Of course, I'm always walking around saying that I don't need a man and I don't need this and I can do everything on my own. But I feel like that is hurting me expeditiously. And I feel like the more that we recognize this patterns and heal it and find our community and find our woman, the more that we can heal ourselves, I can heal myself and come back into that feminine energy and drive towards that and push that to the extent, especially within a business structure. So
And
I really
yeah.
appreciate you sharing that because I can really relate to that pattern and recognizing it and healing from it as well.
Yeah. And that's what has led to many women getting burnout. They're overwhelmed.
Burnout is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're ungrounded. They're not connected to themselves because they're taking on the load of more than they should. And it just shows up in the body, in the upper body, in the upper back, the tension in the neck and the shoulders. And it's taking on responsibility that's not yours. It's like, can you slow down? And most women that are A type personality, they tell me they can't. They don't know how to. And I was like this. I actually went through extreme burnout when I was 26. Literally could not even lift a plate. I went through extreme burnout. My body was not doing well at all. But it's not because of work, it was because of also my emotions. I was running away from my emotions. I was a runner, actually. I was a long
Really?
distance runner.
Oh my
And so I was
gosh.
metaphorically running away from myself.
Right.
And I also was addicted to working out. I would work out, not because I wanted a certain body image. I felt strong. I felt really like, oh, yeah, like look at me. But that was the masculine aspect of
Right.
me. And I felt like I needed to be more masculine to survive. I would suppress my emotions. Suppressing emotions is equivalent to suppressing your feminine.
Right.
And when you suppress your emotions, that's energy in motion, you're suppressing your intuition. So it's also, you disconnect yourself from that feminine radiance. A lot of women don't even know what that feminine radiance means,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to find practices to be like, okay, how can I get more into my feminine? But, most of the time people don't wake up to this until they go through some sort of health crisis
Right.
or some sort of mental illness. Then they're like, oh, wow, I need to change something.
Yeah. Exactly. So going off of that, I feel like when it comes to health and hormones, totally dive into that because that is so important. As women, we go through hormonal changes as we age, but also through our cycles when it comes to PMS and your luteal phase and your I don't even know what other phases are, but
I'll tell you about them.
yes,
I will break it
yes.
down
So
for you.
break it down for me, girl,
Yeah.
because as a woman myself, I struggle with anemia and my iron levels are very low, and I'm trying to figure out a way to boost them with like iron pills, but at the same time, there's only so much supplements that we can take. I feel like it has a lot to do with the internal healing and noticing the oh my gosh, is that a spider?
No, it's just an ant, I
Oh,
think. Yeah, it's okay.
okay, it's all right, it's all right. Sorry, I didn't have my glasses on.
It's okay.
I don't mind the ants. The spider, I was like, I guess that was another sign. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a woman, I'm just like with the iron levels and trying to balance that out. It has a lot to do with internal work and taking that pressure off the shoulders and not and myself. I have major burnout as well, and again, I do feel that pressure on my shoulders, and no massages really help. I feel like it has a lot to do with the internal healing and making our body and our nervous system safe so we can take that pressure off. So the first question is how do we break it down? How can we balance our hormones just as an internal divine feminine without supplements, without medication? Uh-huh.
So first, I'm going to talk about how really hormones or how stress can impact hormones.
Yes.
People don't realize how much low level stress can really have an impact on your immune system, your hormones, your even your skin,
Mhm.
because when you're stressed out, it impacts your gut.
Mm.
And your gut produces more than 90% of your feel good neurotransmitter, which
Mhm.
is serotonin. There's this axis called the HPA axis in the body, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. When that is out of balance, then your hormones get out of balance as well, and that impacts your cycle. It
Mhm.
impacts if you're going through a lot of stress, you either bleed more during your bleed cycle, when I guess the
Your
menstrual
menstrual
cycle.
cycle, yeah.
And then, so yeah, you bleed more during your menstrual cycle,
Mhm.
or you bleed less, or you don't have your period at all.
Right.
So it's very important to become aware of the different phases of your cycle and to accommodate your amount of energy output to that. For example, I will break down the different phases. The first 1 to 7 days of your cycle is your bleed. This is your inner winter. What that means is you're meant to slow down. You're meant to listen to your intuition. This is actually the most intuitive part of your cycle.
Mm.
A lot of people dread this time because their hormones are not in balance.
Mhm.
And when your
There's
hormones
so
are
much
not,
pain.
so much pain,
Mhm.
PMS, lower back pain, breast tenderness, emotionally, people don't realize, women
Mhm.
don't realize when your hormones are not in balance, you will go through some sort of mood swings, low level, maybe depressive feelings. And when you really balance your hormones, you don't go through that. So that's been my experience. Before, I felt very weak during my period. I would feel almost dizzy. I would feel like, I think half of the month I would be depressed. So
Yeah.
there's something called PMDD, which is
Mm.
depression during, like,
Right.
during your luteal
Mhm.
phase. From days 8 to 13 is your follicular phase. That is your inner spring. That's when your estrogen levels increase.
Mhm.
During the bleed is when your estrogen and your progesterone is the lowest. And so this is a time during your follicular phase is to go out, maybe do have a new project, and you're curious about a new thing, and people are just happy. Like women are just
Yeah.
happy during this time.
Right.
And then there's the ovulation period. Now, during the ovulation, some women don't experience ovulation. This
Mhm.
is the summer. This is the peak. This is when you have the most energy. Your libido is the highest during this time.
Right.
Men should know about this, because if they knew, or your partner, if they know about this, then they'd be like, okay, this is the time to really connect
Right. Right.
physically.
And also your pheromones give off a certain smell when you're ovulating, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So this is day 14 to day 16 of your cycle. Some people have it for 2 days, 5 days, depends on your hormones. And testosterone is also slightly increased during this time, hence
Mhm.
why women have a higher libido at this
Mhm.
time.
Right.
And then the last phase is your inner fall, the luteal phase. This is a time of just slowing down, eating nourishing foods, soups, stews, grounding foods. And this is a time not to have a difficult conversation. So, again, if you have a partner, they should know about this,
Right.
because if they were to bring a difficult conversation during this time, this is when the energy of
Right.
like it's going to be harder to have the conversation.
Right.
And this is when women have a clarity and truth comes up in their mind, where they're like,
Mhm.
I've had enough of this. They're like enough kind of energy
Right.
towards certain people, and their tolerance level is less.
Mhm.
And it just, that's why women have more anger,
Mhm.
more intensity. And maybe this is when the time of when women are suppressing a lot of their emotions, and that can show up then in their bleed.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's very important to recognize and listen, and just to be like, yeah, I welcome this intensity in me, to not judge and not to say I'm too much.
And slow down, right?
Slow it down.
Take it slow when you're in your luteal phase because being in your luteal phase is like it's kind of like a winter solstice. It's like okay, you know that your period's coming, so maybe not do that extra activity. Maybe just slow
Hmm.
down for a minute.
Exactly. So those are the four phases.
Okay.
And when you're aware of your cycle, this is what cycle syncing means:
Mm.
becoming aware of your cycle and then following with your nutrition and your energy output. And then when you do that, then it will feel more like an easeful process. It won't be a dreaded one. They're like, oh, like, some women are like, I hate this, I hate
And
this.
trust me, I hate getting my period. I get the worst periods. So I agree with you on that one, but like you're saying to break it down, there's a way to naturally process it where, it's coming, but in my mind, I'm like, I know this is going to be painful. I know I'm going to get depressed. I know I'm going in bed the first 2 days and I can't move. But the practices that you've broken down and eating different foods during those different phases definitely does help lighten it, or also de-stressing, of course, before your luteal phase, before you're actually bleeding, will definitely help with the painful process or the energy process as well.
And you don't have to experience pain. This is something that people need to know.
What? You're hearing it here first, guys.
You don't have to experience pain whatsoever. That's just a misconception. It's just a reflection of how we've become so disconnected from our feminine.
Right.
So PMS, you don't have to experience that. You also during your bleed, you would be more intuitive. There's right now I don't experience any sort of pain. Maybe a slight cramping, only because I know what I did.
Yeah.
I
Right.
ate that thing that I was not supposed
To
to eat.
eat.
But it's because I'm aware of it, studying
Right.
nutrition, studying my body,
Right.
becoming aware of my body.
Yeah.
And so now it's not like I used to, again, half of the month I would be depressed. Now that I've balanced my hormones, I don't have that. Thank
I
God.
want to be you when I grow up.
So this is something so important.
Yeah.
And one thing as well is that when women get into perimenopause or menopause, especially perimenopause, that's when the symptoms intensify.
Yes.
And that's when maybe emotions that have been suppressed, they come up so intensely, and certain symptoms manifest. For example, hypothyroidism is a reflection of suppressing what we want to say.
Because it's in your throat chakra.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It impacts the thyroid.
Right.
And so anything that you suppress will show up in the body. Don't think it's been swept under the rug and it's completely forgotten.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Your body holds the trauma.
it does. The body keeps the score. The body is the subconscious mind. So if you're feeling tension here, okay, maybe it's my posture, part of it, but there might be an emotional aspect where I'm like hiding something, trying to cover up some sort of emotional thing in the heart.
Yes.
So if I open up and I feel, oh wow, like especially in yoga when you do like a chest opener kind of practice, you feel something. Yoga or qigong is not just movement, it's also emotion and energy.
And releasing that energy and
Exactly.
letting the body open up to actually release it properly, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of periods, do you find like the way to ground yourself, especially with like the root chakra, there's this thing at Planet Fitness. It shakes your body. It helps create like it helps shakes like the emotions out. When I am on my period, I go there and I sit down on that shake thing, and it's able to release all that tension, to release all that stress. I'm able to ground myself back into my body. Like, of course, it's still pain, but like it's not totally dreadful anymore. I'm able to go throughout the day, but I forgot what the term is called, but it's like it shakes out your stress hormones, but your lymph nodes as well.
So interestingly, I'm actually a qigong practitioner.
Okay.
And part of qigong is shaking.
Yes.
Shaking the whole body. And during my cacao ceremonies, there is a portion of movement because it's so important to get the lymphatic system moving.
Yes.
The lymphatic system only moves when you move. So when you're stagnant, and for most of us, we have like desk jobs, we just sit down.
Yeah.
Then it's going to create stagnation within this area, within the womb space, within your. So when you actually move your lymphatic system, it then balances your hormone, balances your immune system. It's very, very important.
Right.
So the shaking is essential.
Yes.
So shaking your whole body
Right.
is very, very important. And doing that for like 10 minutes per week, maybe like once a day, you would do like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. That can make such a huge difference for you.
Right.
Also, another thing, a beautiful practice that I've been incorporating for many years into my practice so I can feel more ease in my womb, because womb health is very important.
Yes.
And the womb, before I say this, the practice is connected to the sacral energy, the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is around your sensuality, your sexuality, your emotions. So if you're suppressing emotions, your hormones are going to out of balance because energetically you're impacting the womb space. It's also connected to your inner waters, your intuition and water, and very much hydration. Are you feeling hydrated? Are you giving your body what it needs? Are you nourishing yourself?
Right.
Emotionally, not only physically,
Emotionally. Exactly.
physically. So the practice that I use or I do once a month is called yoni steaming. So it's yoni is a Sanskrit word for a woman's private part. And what you do is get a bunch of herbs, specific herbs, maybe like rosemary, calendula, rose, lavender, and then you pour hot water over this in a pot. And there are yoni steaming kind of boxes, but if you only have a pot, that also works. And what
Mhm.
you do is you wrap a blanket around your hips
Mhm.
and you pretty much remove your pants and you squat over this pot to
Mhm.
receive the steam.
Okay.
And that steam removes stagnation. Stagnation equals PMS.
Yes.
So you remove that, and then having the shaking, you then start helping your body to do the thing that it does best, and
Yes.
that's coming back to
Mhm.
homeostasis. I also want to say about yoni steaming, it
Yes.
helps with clearing the energy of past partners.
Yes. That's very important, ladies.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's
If you wanna get rid of those past toxic men that, you have a soul tie with or you're connected with, the yoni steam can definitely help with that as
mm,
well.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
When you place the intention, you like sage
Mhm.
before you receive the steam,
Mhm.
and then you speak upon the water. This is
Right.
my method.
Yes.
Speaking upon the water is
Mhm.
not woo woo. It's actually been proven by
Yes.
Dr. Masaru Emoto, the
Yes. It's
Japanese.
energy.
Yeah.
I definitely heard about that where you can speak into your water, set the intention, and then drink the water.
Yeah, and it's been proven. Even the
Yes.
tests have been done. It's
Yes.
been shown when water and rice has been ignored or has been given bad words, it turns moldy. But then
Oh,
if it's been given love, it turns into rice wine.
right. That's why they say cook with love.
Exactly.
Talk to your food.
Yeah, and
Talk
taking
to the
that
water. Uh-huh.
to another step, it's actually also imagine growing up and being shamed and not given positive words as children. This impacts our inner water, and we are
Yes.
made up of how much? Quite a bit of water,
Yes.
75%, 80% water. So we then have to rewire or change the energy within our body
Right.
by speaking onto our water. Yeah.
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 One thing I want to touch point on really quick. So, yes, when it comes to health and wellness and learning these practices, and you can do it at home, or you can hire this wonderful woman right here to help you process your hormones and do the cacao ceremony with, and definitely get pure education from this woman yourself. Just look out for when it comes to big pharma and going to the doctors, because from my own personal experience, every time I voice my opinion about my hormones or what I'm dealing with, the doctors are educated to push pills or to push medication. And I feel like the biggest issue right now with this is that is not the main solution. I feel like that disrupts the hormones in the body itself, and it kind of creates a defect. It's like you're going through a revolving door if you're going to continue to either take hormone disruptors or you're taking hypothyroidism medication to help your thyroid, but all you need to do is like go in a room and scream. So there's a
Mm,
lot of ways to
yeah.
naturally heal yourself and your hormones without taking medication or going on birth control. And I feel like it's so important to voice this to our audience and educate our audience of like there's other solutions and there's other
Mhm,
options out there to help heal yourself and heal your body.
mhm,
And like the doctors, it's not their fault. They go to school, this is what they tell them, but we're coming into a space now and the shift is changing where we are getting proper education and help on the internet and through
mhm,
people like Isra of how to naturally heal our bodies as women and be part of these communities where we're learning from example and we're seeing proof of what these practices do and like the actual result of when you do practice these practices and do it the natural way, it's definitely more beneficial for you as a woman but also for your hormones and for your happiness as well. So yes, I think we are on to something here. We are on to healing ourselves, healing women, healing the world. So
mhm,
they are opening up their minds of okay, maybe this is the proper way to go about,
mhm,
healing or nutritionist or, seeing a doctor on a regular basis without pill pushing. So there is an adaptable environment reoccurring here in Ottawa. You just, we're going to do our research. I'm a big advocate for health and wellness and
mhm,
healthcare. And it's so important. And I
mhm,
feel like, the more that we are dealing with life stresses, if we don't take care of our bodies and be present, how long can we keep going? Like,
mhm,
how long are we going to keep holding this stress and withholding our emotions? It's not safe, especially for our divine feminine. And how can we create the life that we can create if we're not releasing,
mhm,
if we're not balancing our hormones, and we're not doing our yoni steams, right?
mhm,
So I think it's so important. And I'm just so grateful for you to come on and, discuss your experience and the way that you practice it yourself, but also giving our audience an education on the how to and the why, but also the how is there and
Mhm.
the how is part of your brand as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see. So, what's one practice that the audience can take with them today?
Yeah, I would say just starting off with 2 minutes of meditation. If you've never meditated, put on a guided meditation, 10 minutes, full body relaxation meditation. And when you go through this, if you feel restless, I recommend starting with a workout, shaking your body first for about a minute and then getting into the meditation, or doing like a 10-minute workout
Yeah.
and then getting into the meditation, because
Mhm.
then you're restless because you've been sitting down for so long. And then when you do the meditation, lie down.
Mm.
You don't have to sit upright. You don't have to be in cross-legged position. You could be lying down and you still will receive absolutely the benefits and maybe more, because lying down, you're giving your body the permission
Yes.
just to go
Rest.
deeper into
Yes.
relaxation. Yeah, because then sitting upright might be painful for some people. You could sit on a chair. I think that would really help instead of a cross-legged position. Meeting yourself where you're at is very important, instead of pushing into something that you think you can't do, and then you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Right. Yes.
Full body relaxation meditation is the way to start. That's
Yes.
what I would recommend. Yeah.
Yes, do it works for you, however your body's
Yeah.
comfortable when it comes to the meditation.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I also have, as I mentioned, meditations on Insight Timer if you want to check that out. They're free meditations. There is a paid part, but you don't have to pay for it. You can get the free meditations. I also have a YouTube channel. You can check that out. And I also offer in-person wellness events,
Mm,
cacao ceremonies, meditation, movement,
mm.
and retreats.
Love that. Well, thank you, Isra. Tell the people where they can find you. Of course, you mentioned your YouTube. Mhm.
Yeah. So I have an Instagram page, Isra, Israa, Rose, Rose 88.
There you go. I definitely recommend you guys go check out her YouTube page. Go check her out on Instagram. She's just a healing and wonderful woman based in Ottawa. Hopefully, soon we're going to go international. I want to get Isra in some retreats. So, yes, I want to get her into more doing retreat ceremonies, especially on the international scale. There's so
Mhm,
many different healing resorts,
mhm,
especially in Mexico, Bali, like all over the world, where your practices would like do world changes, just place you in an environment like that, right? Of course, we're in Ottawa, but like let's say how tourism is huge right now.
mhm.
I feel like your practices will definitely amplify in other places too. So
Absolutely.
here's on the journey, guys, health and wellness. Thank you guys for joining us and watching the Vynora Effect. And stay tuned for our next video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.